Does your child have a private therapist and you want that therapist to be with your child throughout the school day? Stay with me and I'll explain to you how you can get that done. Hey, Jennifer Price here, special education attorney based out of Pittsburgh, here to help parents navigate the world of special education to better allow their kids to reach educational success, as I say. So here's the thing. There are various types of therapists, and sometimes the school will have their own therapist on campus, and that therapist may be ineffective, essentially. We're just going to put it out there. The therapist may be ineffective. However, your child is going to an outside therapist, and there's real progress being made with that outside therapist in various regards, and particularly maybe it's about the behavior. You try to get the therapist to come to the school because the therapist may have offered to do that or said, I have some time to do that. Sure, I can do that. And the school says, nope, no outside people can come and be in the school. The IDEA requires various accommodations and modifications, but another aspect of the IDEA is what's called a related service. So typically, related services, as I think most people think of them, may be occupational therapy. It could be speech and language therapy. It could be all sorts of very specific types of therapy. So when I say your therapist, it would want to come to the school. Maybe it is the occupational therapist, or maybe you do have your own private speech and language therapist, and that person is willing to come to the school. You must make sure that whatever the related services is included in the IEP first and foremost. So if it's a speech and language therapist, that makes sure that speech and language services, once a week, 30 minutes a day, or however often, 2-3 times a week, however often it is, make sure that that is specifically in the IEP, that your child will receive that service. And as an additional side note, make sure that it's not only in the beginning with present levels of academic or functional performance, but that is also in the back with the annual measurable goals, because that is a goal that also should be measured. However, if you want this therapist, also the outside therapist, to come to the school, not only do you need to make sure that it's actually included in the IEP, but you need to make sure that there's very specific targeted language allowing this outside therapist to come in. Now, in order to make sure that the outside therapist can come in, there needs to be some correlation to show that whatever services are being provided by the outside therapist, one, are either not being offered by the school. So maybe the school doesn't have a speech and language therapist on site and they don't have access to one. It's not unusual, especially if you're in a small town or a small school district. Same thing for occupational therapy. Maybe the school doesn't have an OT on site or doesn't have resources to access an OT for your child. Then you are going to make sure that in that situation, your child still receives OT services or speech and language services, but it's going to be by this outside private therapist. And the school is going to allow the outside private therapist to come into the school, but that is written into the IEP very specifically. IEP team members can change all the time. You just don't want any confusion, and you certainly don't want any confusion of someone saying, I don't remember saying that, or that person can't come, once it comes time to execute on this idea, now all of a sudden memories begin to fade. So you want it documented in the IEP. First, the fact that your child even needs the related service. Secondly, that related service can be administered by your outside therapist. So that's it for today. Cheers to your child's educational success. I will be back in another video, and I hope to see you there.